We made it! Oh my goodness.
My God, strangers again.
I'm parched. We were running around. We did it. Welcome back.
Welcome to you. You've been busy. We haven't seen each other for 2 weeks.
We have not. We haven't seen each other for almost a month.
Has it been a month?
Almost a month. 3 weeks,
crap.
maybe.
Yeah.
It's tough, man. It's
A lot
tough.
happened.
We're on the scene. I am kind of behind the scenes recently, so...
Yeah.
But many blessings.
But we keep up social media and we text a bit.
Yes, follow us on the grams and on the YouTubes and such.
And YouTube's. And I accidentally uploaded one of my sets to our YouTube channel. And then my grandparents text me and were like, I don't like that one joke. And I was like, how'd you see it?
It's really good.
And then I was like, oh, whoops, I uploaded it. Because some promoter was like, can I have whatever your latest set is?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. And I uploaded it immediately and it went to Gettin up. And I was like, oh, that checks out.
Well, it's wonderful. At least it's, you're in a position where you could do that. I had an ex-girlfriend who was a teacher, and they found her set about like sleeping with a kid.
No.
And so they like called it the principal. She does a whole bit about it. It's actually kind of funny, but it's like they called it the principal's office, and she's just like, "Yeah, you're not gonna like it. Like, that's not even my best stuff." Really good.
So tell me what you did.
I wrote a book.
What?
It's called Theory. It's
Yeah.
in stores now. It's actually only on Amazon, so it's in store now. But yeah, it's really cool. It's called Theory. It's kind of like X-Files meets Mission Impossible.
Okay.
This AI is designed by a mysterious person to debunk conspiracy theories. So it just goes through all the conspiracy theories, tries to find what's wrong. And it finds something really dangerous, but it can't do anything because it's just a computer.
Right.
So it sends out like a call to like get people. So it gets like engineers and like this cool like 19-year-old AI chick or the like hacker chick.
Yeah.
And then this like military guy whose brother was into conspiracies and now he's kind of into it. And then this like ex-CIA and this engineer and the scientist. Oh my God. And they kind of come together like the A-Team. I'm old. Whatever the A-Team was kind of like this. But yeah, it's kind of like that where it's like this team comes together and they try to save the world from this inevitable destruction by evil forces.
How many characters? 5?
Yes, there's 5 main characters.
That's tough.
Yeah, that's why it kind of, but it reads fast. It has a lot of cool people in it.
Cool.
It's a lot of fun. And for those who don't like to read, the audiobook is coming out soon. You can listen to the audiobook for free.
No kidding.
Right now, like the first 7 chapters are available on theorynovel.com. That's theorynovel.com. Click the link, Spotify and YouTube links.
No kidding.
Free audiobooks. You can listen to it at work and get into the conspiracy yourself. But anyway, that's enough of the ad. Very cool stuff, though. It is a kind of a dream come true to produce a book and have it published and all that. So it's wonderful. And it is very fun. And yeah.
Well, my degree is in creative writing, and I know how hard. I mean, that's hard, man. Mm-hmm. And it's not a novella. I've seen it in the flesh. How many pages are we talking?
It's thick. It's like, it's a thick boy, as the kids would say. It's like lying. It's 490 something?
Yeah. Yeah, novella's in the 200 to 300 range.
It's a 490 something. It's a real book, but it reads very fast. And dude, it's kind of great. So that was one of those things where it's like, it's an odd thing because now, there was so much work kind of leading up to the end to try and get everything, and now there's the audiobook part of it to kind of record everything. And so I just haven't gotten a chance to go anywhere. I haven't performed. I actually turned down things. I've been turning down auditions. I'm sorry. I just have been so 100%. It's one of these things where I've never worked on something this long over this hard for this long amount of time.
How long?
Right. Probably like 2 years.
Yeah, before you met me.
Yeah, so it's just kind of been, and then that last, but the thing about it is really, all that work comes down to like the last 3 weeks. Okay. Like that last 1% is where a lot of the stuff gets home.
Tying it all.
And I really want to take that procedure now to doing bits or coming up with anything. Like the next project I'm doing now a screenplay we talked about for a thing. Yeah. But just that idea where it's like you do all this work and you put all this effort into it, but really it's that last 1% where you just triple check and go through it and then really hone it And that last 1% added so much to it. And I just think, like, if you're going to do something, don't even do it unless you know you're going to do that last 1%.
Right.
Because that last 1% is just such an important part of just having something come together that you feel is because in your mind, it's always this thing. You know what I mean? It's so funny. I've been doing recently, like, a lot of video projects, like corporate video.
Yeah.
And you see people who are like instructors. Like the last video I had to do was for a gym, where this gym instructor, every week he comes by. We have people come in and they want to take a class, but they have to like go through an orientation.
Sure.
So we go and we, you know, have this guy come in and he goes, hey, this is how this works. This is how this works.
Right.
Right. They don't want him to come in every week. So they're like, can we video this guy and then you can edit the video and we'll pay you for it. And
right.
That. So I was like, beautiful. So I'm like, hey, we're going to set up 2 cameras. One on the side that's kind of like, hey, I'm not listening. You know, like the impromptu one?
Sure.
And then one directly on.
Right.
In my mind, thinking, in case this guy blows it. He does it 1,000 times a day.
Is he a professional?
He's a professional gym trainer. And he does this speech 4 times a day. Once a week, 4 times that day.
Got
right?
it. Yeah.
This dude locked. I was like, go whenever you're ready, sir. And he was like, all right. So, I'm Ray, and we're gonna, like, you ever see the scene in My Cousin Vinny? There's a movie, My Cousin Vinny, where they have the lawyer.
Yes.
And he's just like, we're gonna make sure that we take care of everything, and we're gonna get you out of this.
Uh-huh.
And they go, you're up. And he goes, that's what happened, right? Just, you lock up.
Yeah.
And I completely understand in a subconscious way. The thing is, I do this all the time.
Yeah.
So, like, it doesn't, other things may freak me out, this doesn't, right? But this got locked, bro. And we had to go, hey, don't worry, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, I have to edit around all these little, you know, it's a nightmare, right?
Yeah.
But the point being, like, when you know, all the planning and all this stuff and all the lead up. Live theater, man.
Yeah.
When the button is pressed, bro, the whole game changes.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of, I think, one of those things where I keep that in mind about that 1%. Like, get it down to that fine edge before you press the button.
Yeah.
Because even now, after I press the button, I'm just like, nah, I wish I could.
Mm-hmm.
But so grateful to have it out there and so grateful that it's doing a thing. But just, again, like honing it and like over such a long period, you just think like, I've been working on it for 2 years. It's got to be ready. No, without that last 2 weeks of those 2 years, that 2 years was almost wasted.
And how did you find that perspective? Like, you live in it for that long, it's hard to find perspective.
I read it out loud.
Okay. Good.
Changes the game, man.
Did you have anybody else read stuff as you were going along?
Just my uncle. Because we wrote the screenplay, and then my uncle turned parts of the screenplay into the novel, and then I turned parts into the novel.
Yeah.
And then it kind of comes together at the end. But, you know, you don't know all these other variables. And there's also just these things where you go like, that doesn't make sense. I said that out loud, and I can hear that, and it doesn't make sense. Right. But as you're going through, you're like, yeah. And then you're like, oh, my God, like, this thing is this, and now it's this. And you're realizing these things because you're saying it out loud. And it's kind of like, I mean, again, everything's like stand-up, right? But there is an element to it where, you know, you go like, that's the joke, that's the joke, that's the joke. And then you say the joke out loud, and you sound like a fart. Right. And you go wow. In here, it was gold money. Or in my bathroom, it was gold money.
Right.
But man, live theater, when you press the button, that's weird. And so, like, one of the things about it in that last 1% is like that stand-up, where you got to kind of keep an energy of whatever, man. We're just flowing through the chair. Yeah. Like, I care, but, like, you know.
Part of it is, you got to throw it away a little.
Jam a little bit, you know? And there's that element where, like you've read a thing 1,000 times, you just go, oh, yeah, we're just reading the thing casual, just listening to it. But listening to it helps because you could just be in the laundry bag. No, that doesn't make sense. Yeah. And you just realize it in the subconscious way. But there is like it's like you can only go so tight, and then you got to really just, whatever.
Yeah, you got to let it go.
You know, let it go. And I think, like, when you're in your bathroom, you're loose or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when you get up there, you're trying to remember every word. Everyone's like, this guy scares me. Yeah. You got to be like, hey, man, I'm just remembering this right now.
You got to be loose in your bathroom.
Yeah, got to be loose in your bathroom. Yeah. Metamucil.
Hey, well, it's tough because the feedback is tough. Like, you're not getting feedback all the time. You live in it. You get lost in it. Man, fucking hard. I've never published anything.
Nah. And I mean, whatever. I'm not sure how good it will be received or whatever. I think the audiobook will be more telling because I think more people will be prone to listen to the audiobook, and I think whatever. But, you know, at least it's a living, breathing thing in the air. We got a letter from the Library of Congress.
Nice.
And also, you know, the dream is really to turn
the
into
Trump
like a
Library
TV
of Congress.
The Trump Library of Congress. Is that a thing?
I don't know.
I call it. I don't. That's my only Trump. I don't have any Trump.
I go.
But the China. But there is this kind of like, oh man, it's official.
Yeah.
That's cool. Like it's published. It has like a little barcode thing. And these are the things, you know, as you go along. You know, life is long, and you go like, man, yeah, at least I wrote a book.
Yeah.
I could put that in the thing. Kind of see what happens with that.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's also creative, man. Like so much. Like now I'm at a point where it's just be creative.
Yeah.
You know, just be as creative as you can be.
Yeah.
You got Jelly Roll making like country music at 45. Just be as creative as you could be.
Yeah.
You never know how these things show up.
Oh, for sure. You never know what's going to take.
Yeah. And so like that's why I think it's cool, just because it's like, you know, you're same thing where you're in mid 40s, you're trying to kind of get a semblance of what the, you know, what you want to be, but you're also doing it creatively. Right. I'm trying to be creative. I'm trying to make something creative. And I think that that's really tough because on TV you always see like, yeah, I made something and now I own a mansion.
Yeah.
Like, you know, a lot of it isn't that, or shouldn't be the goal for that.
I don't know how it feels to you, but having had kids has made that a different realization for me, and being older as a dad, because ultimately you're like, I want to leave something behind that outlasts me. And creative projects do that. Movies, books, they will outlast us.
Yes.
And, you know, I think right now, well, my kids will see that stuff. That's why I joke in my thing about, like, I want my kids to think I'm cool. Because you want them to remember you when you're gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the black and white photos of your grandparents or whatever, where you're like, that's a romantic relationship. No, it wasn't. Probably not.
Yeah.
But it looks good on that mantle.
Yeah, they were talking about, I was watching something about how, like, they did a documentary on Bill Parcells, and, like, he was, like, the greatest football, whatever, and they interviewed his wife, and it's like, Bill was really into that football. He just loved football. And the kids are just like, Dad loved football. And then at the end, it's like his wife is divorced. His kids never see him. And it's like, it's you leave that alone because the guy, like, winning.
Yeah.
Like, winning kind of takes over all of those sins, you know what I mean, to a degree.
That's what he'll have left. He's banging a 27-year-old or something.
Right. Exactly. I mean, you look at, like, Bill Belichick has, he's got this young, hot stud wife. But it's like, you know what I mean? Like, there's this element to like, when you could be a scumbag as long as you got rings. You know what I mean? And it's like, hopefully, you could do a little bit of both. You could be successful and also be there for your kids. And like you.
Yeah. That's Michael Jackson. We're like, but the music.
Yeah.
He was staring at kids' buttholes. You're like, yeah, but the music. Have you seen Woody Allen's films? I mean, pretty great.
Yeah, it's interesting. It is weird how it's like, that sort of what's forgivable.
But there is a line, too, because with R. Kelly, I can totally be like, nah.
Yeah.
But I know he had hits, but MJ, come on. But he's staring at kids' buttholes.
Now, that's the thing I don't know. I've only heard that everything was BS.
About R. Kelly?
About Michael Jackson.
Okay.
I heard everything was BS. I heard that it was just all money grabs.
Yeah.
And then he got hooked on painkillers, and the doctor overdid him, and they killed him. Right. And it's one of these, it's tragedy, but I can listen to Michael Jackson easy. Yeah. Like, the kids don't even come into play for me anymore. R. Kelly, even like the urinating on the kids, I kind of like, if an R. Kelly song comes on, I'm like, oh, my pearls. Yeah. Like, I have really let that go.
Sure.
I will not YouTube Bill Cosby.
Right.
First off, I don't think like the chocolate cake, like, I get it, Bill.
Okay.
We can get that. That is great. Get the chocolate cake. But like, I don't need to YouTube that.
Yeah.
And I think it was like 64, like 68.
Yeah.
You go like, bro. Like,
you're like, even if there were three.
If we're half wrong.
Yeah. That's what's remarkable, though, about Trump. Where I'm like, what? This guy is invincible. He's like that, too.
But, like, the grab in the pussy is really, like, his...
I thought it was over then.
And then he, like, had sex with a porn star.
Sure.
But, like, it's kind of like within, what do they call that? Like, on brand?
Yeah.
It's kind of on brand.
Right.
Like, that's a thing that I find has really come to play, and I gotta thank the kids for this.
Okay.
I work with a 26-year-old who I consider a kid. And he tells me what's still alive and what's not.
Yeah.
My boss today mentioned Journey.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, that reminds me of that Journey song. And I was like, don't even bring up Journey. It's not worth it. These kids have no idea.
Right.
And he goes, no, don't stop. Believe. I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Journey made it through the portal.
Yeah.
Kids, the world still knows Journey.
Yeah.
Because I want something, because it was on The Sopranos.
Right.
Whatever the variable, they have made it through the portal,
Yeah.
right? But the kids are the ones who sort of
Sure.
tell us what lives and what dies.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, I forgot what track was on, but I forgot what I was mentioning about.
You were talking about kids.
I was talking about how, like, the kids tell us
What lasts or something.
Yeah. Anyway, I got on track, but
Yeah. I mean,
that's what I listen to.
I feel the same way every time I go do stand-up at places, that I'm like, oh, this is what I told my wife the other night. She came to see me and my brother and his wife, and they were visiting, and I was like, all right, I'll get booked on a show, and then, we'll try and do an LA room or something rather than like a club. So we go to a place called the Zebra Room, which used to be Third Wheel, right?
Hey, I know it's officially now.
Had you ever been there?
Nope.
Okay, I had never been. I knew it was a bringer, not a bringer room, but it was a slotted mic during the weeks, and then they had people on the weekends, and I'd seen pictures and whatever.
Cool.
So somebody asked me to do a show called Low Hanging Fruit, and I was like, sure, great, that'll be fun. Thanks for having me. Of course, they really just wanted me to bring people, which this time I could, because people were in town.
Every show's a bringer show.
Yeah, because I never know anybody. No. So I was like, great, you're in luck, I can bring 3 people. So I went, though, and I asked my wife, because she doesn't go out to see shows very often, and I don't think she's been out in LA at all. And I was like, isn't it fun to hear the 20-year-olds talk about what apps they're using? I don't know. I'm like, oh, that's what they think of Trump. Okay. Interesting. It's sad they don't know much. Like, you hear them say stuff, and you're like, oh, that is not how life works.
No. But I remember the point I was going to make was that the authenticity thing is that the youth can clock out authenticity and prefer that over everything. I think it's like why Bill Burr is having this kind of, I don't know if like a renaissance, but like he's peaking hard right now.
Yeah.
Because he just goes like, fuck Elon Musk with this fucking this and fucking that. And just, he is saying the things that the people want to say.
Right.
And he's authentic. Like, if somebody else, like if Gavin Newsom said, like, fuck Elon Musk, you're like, you shouldn't even be cursing.
Yeah.
It's like I have this theory about, like, Sylvester Stallone in the Rock movies. I never want them to fuck. I don't even want to know that they have penises, okay? I don't want to think in any reproductive way about Sylvester Stallone. I remember at the end of The Expendables, he, like, saves, like, Colombia.
Okay. And,
like, brings this woman, this gorgeous Colombian woman, back her father. And she just said, oh, my God, thank you so much. And he's like, right on. And I was like, yes, that is appropriate. Don't even fucking touch her. Because I don't like that. I don't want you to have sex. I remember there was a show where The Rock had sex. And I was like, bro, get this fucking shit off. You've ruined The Rock, right? But essentially the point being, there's an authenticity where it's like, if Sylvester Stallone like beat up a mountain, I'm like, yes, buy it. Because you're that type of dude.
Right.
It's within your brand.
Uh-huh.
So if Bill Burr goes, fuck everybody, it's in his brand to do that.
Right.
Joey Diaz goes, my fucking balls are like, and people go, for fucking balls. If I say my fucking balls, people are like, dude, get the fuck out. No. You. And so I think that there's this element of like just being the most authentic you could be for you. And now the kids are the ones who clock that out. Because they have TikTok, they have filters, they have all these things. So when you're real, they go, oh man, that's a real one.
Yeah.
And it kind of rises to the top. They kind of pull them out. It's an odd thing.
That's why I've decided not just to do my stuff. Because at first I thought, I felt weird about doing, material about my life or being older or whatever in younger rooms. And then I was like, nah, they get it.
Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah. They may not get the specifics.
So as you're you.
About, but like, yeah. And that's all I have. Like, they'll just do that material and it'll work.
You would be considered unk.
Yeah.
That's what they call you, unk.
Yeah, is that what I...
Yeah. I'm Unc too.
I get called Daddy a lot, which makes my
That's
daughter
cool.
extremely uncomfortable.
I always think about, I've only been called Daddy sexually once, and it definitely didn't do a positive thing.
Okay.
Like, I got embarrassed about, I don't want this. I don't want that. But I didn't say anything. I wasn't like, shut the fuck up. I was just like, I don't want to.
Wow.
I'm not going to even, I'm just going to look at the floor.
Yeah.
But that kind of like, I don't know. That's where I would feel like, I don't know, like somebody went like, what up, Daddy? Yeah. I'd be like, cool.
Yeah.
Like Daddy-o, but like in that other circumstance, I'd be
that's what I'm getting a lot.
I don't know. I don't want to like, or hey, Daddy. I'd be like, ooh. Yeah. I remember one time I was talking to a girl. I might have mentioned this story on another podcast, but I was talking to a girl at a bar. I was at the bar, and this girl had to be like 21 years old. Like she just got like in the door, and she was talking to me like, yeah, so I like this, I like that. I was like, do not talk to me. You're fucking 21. Yeah. I'm 43.
Right.
Like, and I can't say this because I want to be polite.
Right.
And I'm kind of like, oh, that's great, you know? When you're young, you could do anything you want.
Sure.
And she was just like, yeah, you know, like, so are you seeing? I was like, no, get the fuck out of here. And in my mind, I'm like, 70-year-old you is going, you stupid son of a bitch. Yeah. You had everything and you ruined it and you blew it. Now I'm this.
Yeah.
I don't know. But at the moment, like when the moment happens, I was just like, I can't. This is too. I'm too age appropriate.
Where are your parents?
Yeah.
It depends. Yeah. I'm not definitely not like chasing, like, it's fine. If they're 28, whatever, you can appreciate.
But you're a silver fox, bro. It's got to be tough.
She looks hot, fine, whatever. But like, if I go secretly in my own world, I'm like, what are my keywords in porn? It's not that. I told my wife today I was at a gym today. I started going back to the gym because my mother came and she was unwell, and I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to be better. So I just went back to the gym. You know, I was like, I'm just gonna stay here, and I realized today floor exercises for 40-year-old men is just me wallowing. It's like a child. You're just wallowing. I'm like, what am I doing on the floor? Anyways, so I totally forgot what I was gonna say, but so I'm at the gym and I see this woman there, and she's probably in her early 50s, late 40s or whatever, and she's she's out of shape like I am. Like, she's just, she's not horribly out of person, but she's there and she's doing it. And I see her aloe pants, and I'm like, oh, she's made some decisions there. This is a smart lady. And like, she had a sporty top on or whatever. Not somebody that I would have considered in the last 10 or 15 years, like, oh, hot lady, fucking great, looks great,
Right.
But I was like, all of that is the thing now that I'm all about. I guarantee you, she's been through a divorce, she's fucking got some kids, she's got some scars in there. Show it to me. I want to see all of it.
This is it.
Yeah, and I'm all about it. Because you got to have all that special sauce now.
I love that.
See it. Tell me perimenopause.
Flaws are in, I am king.
Show me it. But so when the 27-year-olds come up to me, or the gay kids or whatever, and they're like, hey, what's up, Daddy? I mean, I'll take it as a compliment. I'm like, hey.
Please, you should.
I'm like, great. Happy to do it. But like, if they were like, I'll blow you in the back room, I'll be like, I don't know. How good are you at it?
Yeah, I just don't like this thing that's happening. That's the thing. I would feel very, very awkward.
Of course.
And I just don't. I don't know what to say, but also like there is that part of me that's like, it's so interesting because when it's like, if it's in porn, you go, oh yeah, that's what they do. They tie each other to water boilers. So, like, if there's a tie me to a water boiler, I'm not tying you to a water boiler. I don't care what you're into. Yeah. I am not that guy. No. But in my mind, again, and then there's this imaginary 80-year-old me like, you should have done all of it.
You should have known. Yeah. I do think that's probably going to happen.
But now I don't want. Now I just want to be me.
But, yeah, like, you should have taken advantage of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll see how it turns out.
For sure.